I was standing by the river when I saw my mama cry. She said, oh boy, don't you ever go and eat my apple pie. Oh, the circle will be broken by and by, Lord, by and by. So I want to make a quick video for Richard Smith. After World War II, my dad came home from the war, and he had, according to him and Mom, he had never spent a paycheck. The whole time he was in the military, he had all of his paychecks sent to my mom, who stuck them in the bank, saved them. Dad said he didn't need anything while he was in the Army because all of his needs were taken care of. They provided room and board, they provided food, they provided health care, they provided clothes, they provided everything. He said, what did I need money for? I didn't need money for anything. He said there was other guys and they'd get money and they'd go into town, they'd spend it on all kind of things that were pretty useless. But you know, Dad was a farm boy. He'd never seen the greater big world before they, picked him up and shipped him off to the Philippines. So he sent all his money home. My mom worked in a basket factory, and I think she was still living with her parents. So she saved every penny she made. And when they got home, they bought a house in or close to Atlanta, which was a big city. They was from Fayetteville / Fairburn. And they bought a big house in Atlanta, and then they had got a job in the factory. And there were other people that worked in the factory that was in a very similar situation. My brother's best friend was Richard Smith. Well, Richard's dad was named Johnny, and his mother was named Edna. And they worked, I believe they both worked at the same factory. They worked down at Simmons Beauty Rest in Atlanta. So all my life I grew up hearing stories about what Johnny Smith said and what Edna Smith said. And Richard and my brother David was best friends in high school, and they hung out together a lot. And I remember riding in fast cars with them. I remember the one of the few times it snowed, Richard came over and they drug an old piece of farm sled equipment all over the county, and they'd sneak out and smoke up in the tree hut that we'd built out in the woods. My brother told me it was haunted to keep me from going out there. It's just all kind of things that involved Richard. And my brother's dead, Mom and Dad's dead, and I don't know if Johnny's parents are still alive or not. Richard's, but he's got a sister. I do keep up with her somewhat. She's closer to my age, but in school somehow I managed not to really get to know her all that well, but I've seen her on Facebook a bit. But Johnny asked me the other day, I put up a picture of a banjo I was working on, and he said, what is that banjo you're working on? And I said, well, I'm not quite finished with it yet, but when I get finished, I'll make a video and send it to you. So this is for Richard Smith. Richard, this is the banjo that was ruined in the flood. When it went underwater, all of the skin stuff, this is a goat skin, and all the skin swelled up and then shrunk and collapsed the thing, and it got mold and all kind of crap all over it, and it looked really bad. I took it apart, put a new head on it, put new strings on it, cleaned up all these hooks and things, actually repainted it. It was black, and I repainted it black. And this was just a little toy banjo. I have used this a lot just for entertainment, especially the children. When there's a kid around, they're sometimes kind of fascinated about this little toy banjo, and the idea that I can make a song with it is very often interesting to them. And I wanted to restore it because a lot of my memories of this banjo go back to different times. And I'll give you an example. There was a guy that I worked with whose daughter had cancer and wasn't expected to live, and we was all praying for her and trying to figure out things we could do for her. And I made some videos for her using this banjo, and she watched them, and he told me, that she had watched them and she enjoyed them. And so for me, that gave this banjo kind of a special meaning because, that was something important that had value that I was able to do for her that meant something. So I wanted to put it back together. So now I have. It's back together. It's playable. I will probably hang it up there, and I might not play it again for another few years. But right now, she's good to go. As soon as these strings stretch a little more. So I've got about 15 videos of me restoring this, but I'm making this one for Richard just so I can send it to him so that he can see the banjo that I've been working on. And I'll probably be tinkering with this thing for a while. A banjo is kind of like a car with a carburetor. There's always something to tinker. All these nuts and bolts and all these different pressures on the head and the different size of the bridge and the, just all kind of stuff that changes everything. Oh, the circle won't be broken by and by and by and by. There's a better day away, sky, Lord, in the sky. You notice that some of them strings sound a little out of tune, and that has to do with the shortness of the neck. But if you can even get a sound out of it and have it sound anything close to a musical instrument, that's good enough for me, especially on something like this. That I don't know if this was ever even intended to be played as a real musical instrument. I don't know if it was ever anything really more than just a toy, but hey, it works. And it'll get better as I handle this more, play it more, and it has time, because these strings are going to stretch and things like that. So over time, it'll get better and better. And that's the story, Richard. I did that just for you. There you go, buddy. Come see me sometime. We'll go for riding a hot rod. See ya.